In this video, I'm going to share the 7 things that you need to start doing immediately if you want to start burning fat and lose weight fast. And in fact, if you're struggling to lose weight, the reason is going to be because of one or a combination of these 7 things. So if you get these right, then you'll forever be able to be a fat burner. Even if you've struggled to lose weight for years or decades, the answer is going to be in this. So let's look at the 2 main reasons that people can't lose weight. Number 1 is lifestyle choices. It could be the food you're eating, or the lack of exercise, the sitting all day. This, for some people, you just change those lifestyle factors and you will immediately start burning fat. But so many of you watching this video are probably saying, yeah, but I've tried that. I try to eat healthy, I exercise, I go to the gym 5 days a week, I do all of this, and I'm still packing on fat. It can't be because of that. And for most of you, you're probably right. It is interesting at the moment how many videos and pictures I see being shared from 50 to 100 years ago, and everyone always comments, oh, you don't see anyone who's obese or overweight. And there'll always be the people who comment and say, well, if people would just make better lifestyle choices, they would lose weight. Well, again, that's such a small percentage. Are there some of you watching this who could do that immediately? Yes, but the second reason is why so many of you are struggling. And that is because your cells are stuck in what's called the cell danger response. This is leading to a lot of inflammation and autoimmunity and leaky gut. And it means that no matter what you do lifestyle-wise, you're always going to struggle to lose weight until you address this one thing. Now, it doesn't mean don't bother with all the lifestyle changes, because you still need those to be able to make a difference, and that's just going to pile on top. But what is this cell danger response, or CDR for short? Well, it's what our cells do to survive. If we keep it at a very basic level and not dive into the science, when we're under constant attack from toxins and pathogens and all these things, then our cells go into this danger response, and it's meant to work for a short period of time, just like our fight-flight response. But if it never turns off, then you're forever stuck in this with all this chronic inflammation building up, and autoimmunity kicks in. And now you're fighting this weight gain, and no matter what else you do, you'll never be able to shut it down. So when we look at how you're going to lose weight and what these 7 things are, they're all very simple concepts. But losing weight is never easy because of a lot of these things that are against us. So what can you start doing? Well, let's start with the things that are in your control. So here's the 7 things. Number 1, before you start worrying about ever counting calories, which I don't recommend anyone should do even if you're trying to lose weight, before you worry about what your diet's going to look like or anything like that, let's focus on the time you're eating. You need to eat in a compressed eating window. This is what we call time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting. The ideal is get at least to an 8-hour or less eating window. Use a fasting app. There's free ones out there. I use one that's called Zero. It's really easy. And then ideally that 8 hours will turn into 6 to 4 hours at least some days a week. And you don't need to do this 7 days a week. 5 to 6 days a week of intermittent fasting is perfect. Then have a feast day once or twice a week. I normally do that on the weekend. So also we need to eat slower so that we're only going to eat to 80% full, but it takes 15 to 20 minutes for the brain to go, oh, I'm full, I should stop eating. And in that 8 hours or less, let's get rid of snacking and eat 1 to 3 meals a day. So just doing that will help your body start to burn more fat, even if you don't change what you're eating. Number 2, let's stay hydrated. Hydrated with clean water and either Himalayan salt or trace minerals in there to give you the electrolytes. Most people think they're hungry when they're actually dehydrated. Drinking a lot of clean water is also going to help your kidneys filter more toxins out, which is very important later on when we get to what's causing this cell danger response. Number 3, now let's talk about what we're going to eat. Eating does not mean crash diets. It does not mean super restrictive diets. I also believe even if you're losing weight, you still need to enjoy life. So you should eat at a 90-10 or at worst an 80-20 rule. So 20% sometimes just stuff you enjoy, but always try and get healthier alternatives of it. But sometimes you're going to eat garbage, and that's okay. You can't be too restrictive. But the sicker you are and the more weight you need to lose, the closer you want to eat to 100% while you're doing that. Now, how do we do this? Well, 80 to 90% of the time, make sure that every meal you eat is high in good quality protein and high in good quality fat, and very low to minimal sugars, refined carbs, chemicals, and seed oils. You have to get those out of your life if you want to cut down the inflammation, burn fat, lose weight, and be healthy. So when we say protein, no, this doesn't necessarily mean the lean meats. In fact, when you're eating conventional meat, The red meat is going to be better for you than the lean poultry meat because cows have a better ability to break down all the inflammation and seed oils in the food they're given, in grains, in wheat, and all that kind of stuff, than what chickens and poultry are going to hold on. And pork especially. Pork doesn't sweat, or pigs don't sweat. Therefore, pork and all those things are going to have more parasites, more seed oils in them. So if you're getting a pasture-raised source, pork and poultry is fine. But red meat, that's this myth that don't eat that or it'll make you fat. The protein in that is going to do far more for you than if you're eating these lean meats, and definitely more so than all the carbs and everything else we're eating. And we've also got to be very careful of eating plants that are high in lectins. A lot of people will say, don't eat sugary fruits because you'll pack on weight. And sure, don't eat those all the time, but you're actually going to cause more inflammation if you eat a lot of high lectin, high oxalate plants, because that's going to blow the inflammation up and turn on more of that cell danger response. Number 4, we need to prioritize good sleep patterns. This means consistent sleep routines, going to bed around the same time every night, making sure that we're wearing blue blocker glasses or staying off screens and lights for that last hour. Wearing the glasses is easier than staying off them. Don't eat for 3 hours before bed. Make sure your room is cold. Get a chili pad if you need to keep your bed cold. Sleep on a good pillow. Sleep on a good quality mattress. Turn all Wi-Fi off, phone on airplane mode, white noise, eye mask, room dark, all those kind of things. And if you need to, supplement with magnesium glycinate, just straight up glycine. CBD is great, and melatonin. All those things are going to help you get better quality sleep. You can eat the best diet in the world and work out perfectly, but if you don't sleep well, then you are never going to lose fat and you will always be sick. Also, get something to measure your sleep, something like an Oura ring. What gets measured gets managed. If you don't know what your sleep data is, how do you know if you're sleeping well or not? It's not always off feel. Number 5 is exercise. Now, we can't outrun a poor diet or poor sleep. That's why the eating window and what we eat and how we sleep is more important than this. But if you want to be a fat burner, you've got to lift heavier weights. Yes, ladies, especially you. You are not going to get big and bulky if you're not taking other things. But we all need to add more muscle. Unless you're already a bodybuilder, there is a point where you're going to have too much energy expenditure and need to take in too many calories and have other health issues. But for the most part, most of us could put on more muscle, which is going to give us more energy for our immune system and help us burn more fat. Cardio is a great exercise for mental stress and to improve lung capacity, but it will not help you lose fat. You also can't outrun a sedentary lifestyle, so get up and walk around as much as you can throughout the day. Then to get your cardio in, use high intensity interval training, because then you can use weights as well. So now you're really going to burn your lungs and get that anaerobic fitness up while also lifting weights. So then your week can look like this. You can have some Tabata workouts in with high intensity intervals. You can do some really good heavy slow lifting days. The slow lifts are great, where you take 30 to 60 seconds to do a full rep, not a full set, a full rep. It takes you a few minutes to do a full set. That's where you're going to get the most muscle bulk. The best way to do this is the 6 major groups. So you can do slow bench and then some kind of seated or standing row. You can do shoulder press and then pull-ups or lat pull-downs. Then we can do squats and then deadlifts. And you do that a couple times a week with heavy weights, low reps, very slow and controlled. That's going to help you build muscle great. Then other ways to do high intensity outside of the Tabata, you can do the 7-minute workout. There's great apps for that. There's so many ways you can do this, but you have to lift weights if you want to burn fat. Number 6, now we're getting to things that are not necessarily within your control immediately, where you might need help. You must deal with any unresolved emotional trauma. Unresolved emotional trauma keeps your nervous system stuck in fight-flight. It's going to keep cortisol and stress hormones coursing through your veins at all times, which is going to increase your fat storage because your body thinks it's under threat. And some of this might also be sabotaging in other ways. Maybe you were attacked when you were younger and you subconsciously eat more to feel like, well, if I'm overweight, no one will attack me again. Okay, well, that served you at the time, but now we have to get rid of that. Maybe you've subconsciously got more attention and sympathy if you're ill or dealing with health issues. We need to flip that switch, and there's a lot of techniques out there that can help you. There's emotional freedom techniques, there's tapping, it might be working with a professional to help you deal with that. But if we don't deal with unresolved traumas, our body is going to be chronically ill and weight gain is going to be the least of your issues, but it's going to happen like crazy. Sometimes it's also just dealing with limiting beliefs. Maybe you think that everyone else in my family's been obese, so it's in my genetics. Well, just because it runs in your family doesn't mean it has to run you. So we must deal with those things. And this one more for the guys is hard because we don't really like to talk about this stuff and admit that we have emotional problems. But we all do. We all have some kind of unresolved childhood trauma. If we're yelled at as a kid, we're carrying that with us. So we need to deal with that. Then number 7, and this is probably the most important thing you can do to lose weight and burn fat, but it's the hardest one to do on your own, even harder than dealing with unresolved emotional traumas. And this is addressing the underlying root causes that are turning on that cell danger response. This is the biotoxins that we have. We must identify them and eliminate them. What are biotoxins? Well, this can be infections like parasites, candida, Lyme disease and all the co-infections with it. It can be those bacteria like Bartonella, Babesia, or the co-infections like Epstein-Barr and all these other viruses and strep and all these things that get in our body and basically destroy us. Or it can be straight up toxins, heavy metals, herbicides and pesticides like glyphosate, BPA from plastic, phthalates, parabens in our skincare. We live in a toxic soup. We're born in a toxic soup. The number of chemicals they're finding in the umbilical cord now that shouldn't be there on average is between 250 and 350 different chemicals. We have our forever chemicals we're exposed to. So whether you like it or not, you're going to have these things in you. And the more of these toxins and infections you have, the harder it's going to be for your body to get rid of it all. So how do we manage this? Well, before you start trying to kill any of these things that are in you, you first have to open all your drainage pathways. We do this by getting the liver, the gallbladder, the kidneys, the colon, the lymphatic system, the glymphatic system, which is the brain lymphatic system. We get all of that open and working properly. Then and only then should you start killing and binding all these pathogens and toxins and getting them out of the body. You've got to sweat to help all that happen as well. You'll need to do this in the right order though, because if you don't, you're going to get very sick when you start getting kill-off symptoms and you'll suffer from Herx reactions and things like that. And more isn't better when you're going through this. If you're chronically ill, if you start to react to something you're taking, a supplement or a herb, you need to stop and go backwards and start again. And this is why you need to work with someone who knows what they're doing. So that's the 7 things that if you do all of these things, I promise you, you'll become the ultimate fat burner and you will lose so much weight. You will help deal with any chronic illness that you're currently managing. The answer lies somewhere in these 7 things or a combination of them all. So eating in a time-restricted window, hydrating with clean water and electrolytes and salt, eating way more protein and fat and way less or no seed oils, less sugar, less chemicals, less refined carbs, prioritizing really good sleep patterns, exercising with lots more heavy weightlifting, high-intensity interval training, and use cardio for what it's good for, mental stress, and just lung capacity in general and blood flow. Deal with your unresolved emotional traumas, and absolutely we have to identify and eliminate all of those biotoxins that are in your body. Now, if this is the kind of information that you feel like you need to get healthier, then hit subscribe on the channel because this is the kind of stuff I talk about all the time. And I've got so many more videos coming out about especially the weight loss side of all of this, but we're talking about the biotoxins and gut health all the time. So I'd love to have you follow on with the channel and let me help you get control of your health and get back to the life that you deserve.